The share of unemployed Americans who quit or voluntarily left their jobs rose to 15.9% in September, suggesting that people who leave a job feel confident they can find a new one. Though more than 4.2 million people quit their jobs in August, just 898,000 job leavers were reported as unemployed that month. The median period for which Americans stay unemployed right now is 8.3 weeks, the lowest level in 20 years. So the Great Resignation, if you're unfamiliar with the term, I've been talking about it so much, I just assume everybody knows about it, but it's a term that economists came up with to describe the overwhelming record amounts of people, okay, who quit their jobs each month for the last 13, 14, 15 months. It's unprecedented, and I hate using that word because it's been overused. But you're talking about 4+ million people leaving their jobs. And again, in my desire to inform you folks, understand that this is what is driving stubborn inflation. The average pay increase for somebody who leaves their job to take another job right now is around 15% pay bump. Corporations are passing those costs along to the consumers. So anybody who thinks that Jerome Powell and all the other boneheads at the Fed are going to fix inflation by raising our interest rates, I got some oceanfront property just outside of Phoenix I'd like to entertain you with. I keep it real here, folks. Now, okay, so here's what's interesting. So we've got this weird, you remember the movie The Perfect Storm? Did you ever see that movie, Alex, with George Clooney? That's terrible, terrible. Great movie, terrible story. It's heartbreaking. It's awful, okay? But the Perfect Storm is a description of where you had two storms, and this happens from time to time, depending on the region of the world, that can come together at once. Two big supercells come together for a massive storm. And I really believe that we are in a perfect storm in our job economy right now. So one big supercell is the Great Resignation that's been really going on since, let's call it the third or fourth quarter of 2020, all of 2021. And here we are in October of 2022, and we're still seeing record numbers of people leave their jobs. So you got this big surge of jobs available, people leaving, demand's high, and people are just playing musical chairs. The little game we used to play in elementary school. You know, people leaving, and so some people leave, they got to replace them, and it's driving up wages and hourly rates, and so here we stand. So that's causing inflation in a big way. Okay? Now, on the other side, we've got the quiet quitting among the younger generations that talk about this. You got people becoming less productive, and companies are looking at all this. They're going, okay, if I'm going to pay you more to work from home, I'm going to monitor your keyboard, and I'm monitoring your computer on the software. We're seeing an unprecedented amount of companies that are tracking their employees. And you know, I hate that. I hate it, and I'm a man of the people, and I'm going to rail against it. If you're a leader and you're doing that, you're weak, you're pathetic, you're wrong. You don't gain trust by monitoring adults like they're kids. We have 3 kids. They were toddlers once. Yes, we monitored them. We had cameras on their crib, but those were babies. This is Nanny Ship, not leadership. It is doing the opposite of what you think you're doing. It is not creating boundaries. It is not creating productivity and trust. In fact, it is creating distrust and resentment because adults don't want to be treated like kids. Duh. It's mind-blowing, the leadership idiocy that is in our country. Smart men and women running big companies, very smart, smarter than me. But I tell you what they aren't. They aren't people smart. Gee whiz, Ken, you're a little fired up today. Do you mean all that? Yeah, I mean it. I absolutely mean it. So we see reports. Productivity is down 4.1% on an annualized basis, the biggest decline since the government started keeping track of the number back in 1948. By the way, why are we keeping track of productivity? While I'm banging on stuff, let me tell you how stupid that is. Why do we have to track productivity? Why don't we just track results? It's like standardized testing in our American school system. That's the stupidest thing of all time. It's big business. It's a multi-billion-dollar business that's all about politics. Why do we got to stress our teachers and our kids out for standardized tests? Well, Ken, we need to measure the learning progress of our kids. That's called a report card. It's called grades. If a kid's getting a D in English, I know that something's off. I don't need to give him a standardized test at the end of the year. Gosh, I wish I had a live studio audience that could say amen and jump up and down and clap, because I know they would. I didn't mean you had to do that, those of you out there. I'm just saying, am I right? I'm absolutely right. Why are we measuring productivity? Why don't we measure results? I mean, I get it. I'm having a little bit of fun with this. But see, when I'm trying to measure someone's productivity, I am monitoring them. When I'm measuring someone's results, I am liberating them. Oh, woo! That's good. I'm so excited. I hit the mic. Let me say that again. I just came up with that. Somebody write that down. When I am monitoring someone, I'm holding them back, right? But when I'm tracking productivity, it's all about monitoring. When I am tracking results, it's about liberating people to just go do what I've asked you to do. Go get it done. See, that's leadership. So why is productivity dropping? I'm going to tell you why. People are feeling devalued. People are feeling monitored. It's back to what we talked about in the first segment. People aren't lazy. Productivity is not dropping because people are lazy. Productivity is dropping because people are lost and they don't feel valued. This is a leadership problem.